Good to see you again, man.
Good to see you, Phil. Last time we saw each other, I think, was the golf course.
It was the golf course, and I think you drove about 100 yards past me.
I was probably 100 yards to the left as well.
Yeah, and I was 150 to the right, but you played well, actually, so you were very patient.
Yeah, that was back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. So you still playing?
Yes, only once a day, though.
Yeah, only once a day. But you play fast.
Yeah. I turn everything into an aerobic activity.
Yeah, well, you're hyper. You're whack, go, whack, go.
I wouldn't call it
go.
hyper. I'm just like super focused.
Yeah, he's hyper. I don't care what he says. So how you been, man?
I've been really good. Actually, I think I would qualify this as the best period of my life.
Yeah?
Tell you the truth. Yeah.
You seem very happy. You seem very peaceful. It's good to see. You've moved to Nashville.
Yes, moved to Nashville. My wife and I, Laura, moved there about 4 years ago, and I just love living there. And, my grandfather actually left the Nashville area when he was 3 years old and went to Texas in a covered wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I still got cousins back there. And it's a great place because of the people, and it's easy to make friends and have great friends there.
Yeah. What prompted you to move?
Well, music, number one, it really is Music City. 75% of all music done in the United States, regardless of the genre, is done in Nashville. There's such great pickers there. And I visited there for the first time probably about 10 years ago and just kept coming back and really fell in love with the place. And that's where I wanted to be.
Yeah, it's great. Ronnie Dunn's one of my best friends, and he lives there. Brooks and Dunn fade. Yeah. I talk to Ronnie every week.
There's not a cynicism there, that or kind of jadedness that I think happens with a lot of artists, whether it be actors or musicians or whatever. People there, they still like just to get together on the porch or in each other's homes and just play.
Yeah.
It's not something just do for work. It's something they do to express joy.
Yeah, it's a different vibe than on either coast. No question about it. I feel the same way about Dallas. It's very different than either coast, certainly different than Hollywood.
Right.
There's a lot of good things about both coasts, but there's a different vibe in the middle of the country.
Right.
So I can't wait to talk about a lot of different things, but I got to just jump in and talk about Reagan. This is an amazing project. How'd this come about for you?
Out of the blue. It really did. I did a movie called Soul Surfer, and Bethany's brother, my Hawaiian agent, Bethany Hamilton, who the movie was about, told me that there was some, group of people that were, looking to talk to me about playing Reagan. And so I found Mark, and we had a meeting, Mark Joseph, and they asked me to do the role. And I did not see myself as Reagan. I didn't think I looked like him. Of course, his voice is so distinctive, and it was fear that was going up and down my spine, to tell you the truth, because he's like Muhammad Ali. Everybody in the world knows what he looks like. I didn't want to do an impersonation. And so I took a lot of time to think about it. And we're both actors. We're both, I think, have sunny dispositions naturally. And but I went to the ranch, the Reagan Ranch, which is not open to the public. And that's what made my mind up, because you go up 5 miles of the worst road in California to get to this place. That's the Queen had to come up that road to visit him.
Can you imagine?
And you come out to the gate, and it opens up, on top of that mountain there. And I realized that Reagan was a humble man. And he wasn't a rich man. And I could feel him there in that place, just who he was. The house that they had is maybe 1,100 square feet. That was, the Western White House.
Yeah.
And the first thing you see when you open the door is this huge bookcase of every book that he ever had, going back to when he was 9 years old. But the house is, like I said, 1,100 square feet. They had a king-size bed, but it was 2 single beds that were zip tied together.
Seriously.
Yeah, they left that place just as they left it. You expect that he and Nancy to come back at any moment. The clothes are in the closet. The Liberty Bell shower head is there. There's a basket with 3 channel changers in it that go kaprong, kaprong, and a note from Nancy on how to get the TV to work. And you could really feel it. So I said yes.
You said you had to really think about it. Why? I would think, knowing you and knowing your values and sensibilities, I would have thought you would have jumped at that.
Well, it was, like I said, he's like Muhammad Ali. He's so famous, and it was fear, basically, and when I have that tingle of fear, it usually means that I should do that because it takes me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And so I realized it was a deep dive because once I said yes, it was, I think, about 1.5 2 years before we actually started shooting.
When you got into that role, how did you do it? Because he is bigger than life. I mean, people still, they talk about Reagan Republicans.
Right.
He's kind of the iconic image of that party, and you still talk about Reaganomics. You still talk about so many things that surrounded him, his communication ability, his simple 2-3 line graphs. I mean, his ability to connect.
Yeah. It's just like you look up president in the dictionary and there's Reagan, and, he would exemplify to me the 20th century, just like Lincoln would the 19th in Washington, really. And I do think he was my favorite president. I voted for him. And in fact, I voted for him in 1980 and I was living in LA, and my roommate, I came home and he said, "Who'd you vote for?" I said, "Reagan." He said, "You were kicked out of the hippies."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Was there something that you had to do to make that transformation?
Yeah, I really had just to immerse myself. I didn't want to do an impersonation, so I just kind of tried it out on my own. There's miles and miles and miles of videotape, thank goodness, on YouTube. That really fantastic. It's great for actors, about the way he walked and why did he walk that way, the way that he walked, why, his voice. He also, I come to find out that he had a crooked smile.
Yeah.
And I think it had to be with some sort of maybe nerve damage or something that had happened, some kind of trauma that it happened young or whatever. But, that's just the little things like that kind of, that's the way I work, is kind of from the outside in. And also talking to a lot of people who knew him, what I found really fascinating is almost to a person, they would say there was a part of him that was unknowable. As the great communicator that he was, there was a private place in him that you couldn't reach. And I think maybe the closest one who came to that would probably be Nancy, but even she has been heard to say the same thing,